Good morning, everyone.
Hi. I'm sorry. What was that?
Vicki
I'm
was
sorry.
showing us a little something.
Yes.
Hello, welcome everyone, and we've got another special guest. It's Sandy. Hey, Sandy.
I am here for Betsy, and
Yeah.
Betsy will be probably here halfway
Probably.
through.
Yes. Yes.
We hope.
We
Yeah.
hope.
I might as
Yes.
well say it now, and I've got my mug, so biscuits.
Biscuits. Oh
There
yeah.
you go.
Oh,
Get it out now.
biscuits.
That's
And
right.
you will say it. I already warned you. We will
Yes.
talk about Appalachia.
We will.
Ooh,
Oh,
and
you said it perfectly. Thank you so
Ta-da.
much.
Yes. Yes.
yeah.
How are you doing?
I have an Appalachia connection in the profiles too of the week. So
Oh.
so Betsy she's some of her young flute students are performing, right?
Yeah, the baby
So
flutes.
you could say
In
that
a festival.
some of her flute newts are making toots.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, welcome to everyone who's here, who's joined us live, and that would include Dee, who wins the award for the first one on this morning from Augusta,
Wow.
Georgia, where I imagine it's much warmer than it is here at minus 19 Celsius.
Oh,
Where I am.
really?
Yeah. So that's -2 Fahrenheit, apparently. So for those who do Fahrenheit, it's pretty frosty. Yeah. Finn did his, there's Finn again. Yeah. Trying to get his head in. So,
I'm staying. I shouldn't tell you it's going to be in the mid 60s here today. Then.
yes,
Wow.
I can't imagine that. Mid 60s, it's -2 here. So over 62 degrees difference.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
It is.
It is crazy. Yeah. Yeah. He did his business and turned right around.
I don't blame him.
Any further, you can't make me. But anyways, Hillary from Wales is here also. Amanda from Melbourne, how you doing? And scrolling down, and Fiordalisi Mohavlin is here. And Margaret Toll, Veg Beauty, who is Tia, right? Christine Miller, Susie Carda, also Yoke, Chris Veriolo, how you doing? Ozzy, let's see if I can stay awake. I hope you can too. Patricia Jackson. Paula Franklin, how you doing? Brian Nash, how we got here? Genealogy, how you doing? Good day, and Audrey Martin is joining us. Lisa Gervais is here. How you doing, Lisa? Thanks for updating the social media page. As always, Gail Martin, Doris Lanier, and Murray Maloney, where it's probably pretty cold where you are, Murray, this morning as well. Biscuits to Sandy. Already. John Tyner from Ireland. How you doing, John? And Aaron Solstiak Robertson is here. Yay, biscuits. Let's see. Oh, someone says scones.
And this is the Australian biscuits.
Oh, Tim Tams.
Yeah.
No, if I can interrupt real quick, Mel, I know you're watching. I did have Tim Tams last week at Outback Steakhouse dessert.
Oh,
that was my first Tim Tam.
That was an oct.
I'm so jealous.
The Outback, of course, that would make sense. Yeah, that's great. Yes, and I should thank Mel for correcting me on all the mistakes I made last week. So moving on, David Dodd is here as well, and Tamara Sims, and I think, let me know if I've missed anyone else. But and also thanks, of course, to those who are watching us on replay and at your own time and leisure, at whatever speed you like to play on videos on YouTube. So, I mean, that's one way of making sure that we stay under an hour, is just to play it at 1.5 times speed or 2 times speed.
I was waiting to see if you'd say 2 times.
That's the trick.
Hopefully,
we talking about Doctor Who today. That might be a great time.
Don't have a Doctor Who connection yet, but let's see if I can figure out one. Anyways. Vicki, do you want to take it away?
Yes, I'll start the fires with our member of the week. Would you share my screen, please, Greg?
Okay, will do.
It seems like everything was prepared for Sandy, because we have an Appalachian member of the week.
That's excellent.
The member of the week is Yvonne Watson. Maybe you know her. Do you know her, Sandy?
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
Well, Dawn became a wiki genealogist in June 2023, about the time that I joined WikiTree too.
Mm-hmm.
So she's a cemeterist and also sees the U.S. Southern Colonies Project, Appalachia, and U.S. Black Heritage Project. And she started in genealogy because her grandmothers told her stories about their families, and she became curious from 12 years old. And she spent a lot of time with them and hearing their stories. She's so lucky. And became intrigued and started reading about history. And then in high school, her history teacher, assigned her a cemetery survey as extra credit. Is this common in the US? No? Do you know?
A cemetery survey? I don't know.
But it's great. Imagine. So she became a cemeterist a long time before joining WikiTree, right?
I think a lot of us do go, well, I'll just say for U.S. Southern Colonies and Appalachia, and maybe USBH too, trying to find those hidden ones as well. So we become, cemetery walkers.
Oh,
doesn't sound right, but
it made me think of zombies, but yeah.
Yeah, that's
But it's so fun. It's such a fun assignment. I would have loved to have that one. And she chose Betty's Creek Baptist Church Cemetery, where her maternal grandmother's parents were buried. So from there, she was hooked on genealogy. And, she's a genre fiction writer by profession. Look at that. I bet she enjoys writing our biographies, right?
Oh, yeah. Does she say, she said she writes under a pen name, right?
Yes.
But she didn't say what her pen name was, so we don't know which books she's written.
She doesn't want us to know.
Oh.
And her favorite function of WikiTree is the ability to show the exact connections between individuals. Yeah, I think it's great too. And I wanted to share, well, she is most involved in the cemeteries, as I said, U.S. Southern Colonies, Appalachia Project, Biscuits again. And the biggest thing she does and try to track down solid original sources. Are you hearing me?
Yep.
Oh, I lost the battery of one of my AirPods. and she likes to write proof arguments in the biographies of individual profiles to help future researchers. She's a big believer in categorization, and I also try to make those all-important familial connections for other researchers so they can find easily their cousins. So she says, how can you help on those projects? She says, get involved, join a project that aligns with your goals or area of research, and document profiles, categorize them, or ask for help. We really wanted to have Dawn today so she could show us how to categorize cemeteries, because that's one of the most requested things on G2G, don't you think? But well, she couldn't be here with us. So hi Dawn, I hope you're watching.
Well, and I'll give a little shout out too for the categorization. If you categorize or create, Flo and Ian created the Sim category app as well that will do that. Well, I love the programmers. Greg, I talk about the fan chart. I don't start a rock without a fan chart, so I always like giving you guys credit.
Thanks. Yeah.
So I'll show you now the profile makeover. We're starting a new month, but I still don't post the invitation for this month. But I'm thinking to do something theme-based. And but I'll let you know what the theme is. The theme is Valentine's. It's February, so I'm thinking you could get inspiration from, you could use the Valentine name, the Valentine surname, or you can think of your favorite or your first Valentine, and maybe he was called Michael. Maybe you use a profile that honors the name Michael, or maybe your grandparents had a great love story, or you have a beautiful photo that inspires you to create or embellish one profile. So that will be the theme. And the profile makeover I want to show you today, because we have our Sandy, and this is the surprise, Sandy. I chose your profile makeover that you did last year on the first profile makeover challenge. You participated, you joined, and you chose Spicy Jane Atkins. Right?
Yeah. I mean, this is wild. I'm really kind of tripping here. Okay. This is like going down memory lane of WikiTree.
Surprise.
Spicy Jane?
I mean,
name
this
was actually Spicy Jane?
I know this was a blank profile when I think I first saw it.
Well, that's the whole point of making a profile makeover. And I will show you what it looked like. And you chose her because she's from West Virginia and an all-time music singer. So you said win-win for me. And this was the before. Yeah, it was such a sad profile, as I call them. But we had her parents, we had her 9 siblings, 2 husbands, and 6 children. So she had her family created, but the biography said Spicy was born in 1866. She was the daughter of this and that, and she passed away in 1963. So let's see how it looks
exciting
now.
So far.
There's a little more happening in between those dashes.
Not so spicy.
Yeah, let's see why you chose her, because she's so interesting. And this is what she looks now. Does it look okay? Should I zoom out, zoom in?
I think it's okay. I can read it.
Okay. Okay. Well, this is Spicy Jane. I don't know, where did you get this photo? It looks like a painted picture.
It's actually kind of sort of like a tintype that somebody has colorized, but not colorized in the way that we do it now. It's more like an old-timey colorized that's used. But if you're in West Virginia, you know people who have people who have albums, photo albums.
Yeah.
You know, people who have people.
Yeah.
So you got this picture, and well, it's a portrait, right? Right. It's like one of those drawings, I guess, that they kind of edited.
It's not AI. So if anybody else, it's not AI. This one's
yeah. Well, Spicy Jane has a so interesting story. She was born in West Virginia, as we said, daughter of Kenan Atkins and Mariah Benz. She was a founding member of the McCoy Time Singers. I looked for something about them. I couldn't find any story or any info about the McCoy Time Singers.
And when we say McCoy, we are talking about those McCoys.
Those McCoys, yes.
McCoys.
Yeah.
Yes. And the Singers were a popular gospel quartet in the tri-state region of Kentucky, Virginia, and West Virginia. And well, now let's talk about the Lincoln County feud. The Lincoln County feud occurred in the Harts Creek community of Lincoln and Logan counties between 1878 and 1890. Wow, it was a long dispute. And Spicy married William Grenville McCoy. He was from Kentucky. And Spicy's father had a part in this Lincoln County feud. The Lincoln County feud, as you say here, was the second biggest feud that's documented after the famous Hatfield-McCoy feud, family feud.
And I'm glad you mentioned the word documented. For those of you that know any Hollywood and things like that, the Hatfield McCoy feud is the one that everybody knows. That's really just because that's the one that also Hollywood picked up.
Mhm.
But we do have a lot of feuds in Appalachia, and some of them are just way more important or way more interesting than the Hatfield McCoy. And Hatfield McCoy's was, pretty fairly quick feud. But I would just say that I would reach out to look at. We have someone our project, the coal mining feuds were much more interesting and important. But this one was pretty important because it documented because it leads into the Hatfields and McCoys.
Right. Well, not only Spicy's father was involved, but her husband, William Greenville McCoy, was killed at this some kind of, I lost it. He was murdered
By a mob, it looks like.
Yeah.
by a mob. Yeah, I lost it. Sorry. He was killed when a mob brutally murdered Green and Thomas Milton Haley at the mouth of Green Show Creek. Well, Green was a member of the Hatfield and McCoy family, and they had 2 children. And they murdered him after 4 years of marriage, and then Spicy married a second time with Gobble Fry, and had 4 more children. That's an interesting story. There's the link here in the sources. You can find the link for the Lincoln County feud if you want to know more.
Okay, that was my next question. I was going to say, I hope I put the link in.
Of course, you did. This was a year ago, so.
Yeah, if you know like I said, if you know the Hatfield and McCoys, then this one is just kind of a continuation. And as we were talking beforehand, as with anything, it involves something about distilling, something about a school teacher, and something about a preacher. So I encourage you to go take a look. Get a cup of coffee, cup of tea, and or a jar of moonshine while you do it, because we're talking about distilling. So.
And just to close, I didn't check this link, but now I see we have a source about her memorial. She's commemorated at Community Memorial Gardens in Wayne County. Let's see
96.
what this looks like. Oh, it's the certificate of death. Oh, well, that's a nice document to have. So
96, that's
pretty impressive.
A lot of biscuits.
A lot of biscuits.
Yeah, well, this was my surprise for you, Sandy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for sharing
it's
knowledge.
Really fun, don't you think, to take a blank profile and then not just do a dump of sources, but really research it and find. When I started this one, I just randomly picked one, not in my CC7 or anything. It was just a random one I picked. I had no clue where it's going to lead, and that's the best ones, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it happened to me with my first profile makeover. The same thing. It was so interesting.
Yeah.
And it's fun, super fun.
So everybody do it this month. This is a month of love. Vicki's got a theme.
Yeah. And so you can spread your love dashes.
Your wiki love.
In your profile. Yeah, dashes of love. And she was your 15th cousin, 5 times removed. So thank you, Sandy, for this.
Thanks for reminding me. I should go back and finish the rest of the gospel group there.
Oh,
neat.
That's super.
I agree with Ann. Profile completeness. That's what we're talking about in our project all year. And this is a really good project. That give the dash of love, to do these profile completeness.
Yes, that's one of the ideas that we give our participants to use as a source of what can I do for a makeover. Well, check David Randall's completeness list
Mhm.
or any other standard you know,
Mhm.
and just learn, try things, try new things, and learn with us.
Mhm.
And link share. If you're adding a link to find your grave on the profile, then maybe add a little comment saying where they could find more information or Ancestry or Family Search, wherever. Link share, because I got to represent that the ambassadors project
Right.
as well
Mhm.
here. So
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you want to take a moment to share your screen and show us how you add that on Find a Grave?
Let me see if I can pull up somebody random, like, how about that?
Okay.
Mhm.
And let me pull somebody up
Because I've heard other people talk about it, and I've seen it demonstrated once, but I imagine many of the people who are watching now may not realize that on Find a Grave there's actually a way you can add the WikiTree ID, so that
Mhm.
Mhm.
you can't put a direct link, I believe, right? You can't
Right.
put a URL.
You can't put a direct link in the bio. They will strip it, and you really shouldn't do it either as a comment or that you leave below. And if you've been to Find a Grave, down below, you'll see people leave little notes or
Flowers.
something like that with a flower. Or I tend to also do it. And of course, I can't find a random one, so let me just go up to Find a Grave.
Sorry, I'm putting you on the spot here, but
I was
it just
looking
seemed like a perfect segue. We started with a cemeterist, and now we're talking about
yeah.
Yeah.
And let me see.
Appalachian cemeteries.
yes.
And it would be nice if I could find somebody who actually left a flower. But I will share my screen, and we'll go with it.
Okay.
There you go. So for Find a
Can you zoom in
Grave,
just a little bit?
yeah,
There we go.
there you go. So for Find a Grave, once you're on a profile, if you scroll down, you see this little thing that says leave a flower. So you can
Mhm.
just click on that. And I already have, they give you standard ones that you can pick from. You can add your own as well. I have different ones. I even have it for my great grands and things like that. I'll leave because I think that's a really cool not DNA link, but if I leave one that says my beloved great grandfather, and then I will just do the WikiTree ID, which could be like Jones-432. I won't leave the link, but I'll just say my beloved great grandfather, more details and just the text link as well. So let me pick a heart, and I put more details. And I'll just put mine, something like that. And that's all I'll do.
Mhm.
And don't do a link, because you'll get in trouble with Find a Grave. And then people can go to WikiTree, and
I was going to say,
see.
well, it's special, right?
It is love. It's love. It's much love.
Love.
And then you can, people can copy. Once it's left there, they can copy that little link, and then when they're at your homepage, they can add it, or they can research it, or however they care to do. And if you have WikiTree B, I know that random people will not, that are not on WikiTree, but if you have WikiTree B, so you got this little WikiTree overlay button. It is not part of Find a Grave. It's part of WikiTree B. And again, a shout out to the Flominator. Flo did this.
Yes.
If I click on it, it will take me right to his program. So, but I know that when you leave a comment down below, you leave a little flower. Most people are probably not going to be on WikiTree when they see that, or else they would already know who this person is, right? So, there's two different concepts I'm kind of talking about there, but they're both equally cool, because if you do know the person, like Spicy, I am 15 cousins. I could leave a comment down below, and then I can also say, let me go check out her profile again, make sure I don't have any typos.
And what is it that generates the like from the B, like how does the B extension know to put the WikiTree button there? Is it because you've added a comment with
No,
the ID?
it's automatic. Something, some magic, spicy, some code that floated.
Oh,
And it
okay.
rhymed. Magic, spicy code that floated. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So it's something.
So it'll
that-
appear even if no one has added that link.
Correct,
You
yeah.
just show us how to do.
Yep, sure will. And I should also let me come back here, because a lot of you might have oops. See, this one does not. So this is a different profile. So this
Okay.
tells me that this person is not going to be then on WikiTree. But let me see if I can go back. A lot of you, I don't know how many of you actually sponsor Find Your Graves. I think they're $5-10 each, and it's a one-time feature to sponsor them. Trying to find one
You
that's
sponsor an individual grave?
you can sponsor an individual grave. It's supposed to take some of the advertising and things out, but it will look completely different. And I'm sorry, I know I'm going on a tangent, but this is just a little bit different
Huh.
a look. And let me show you what it looks like real quick. I'm cheating and going to my dad's. Because that one I
had
did.
no idea.
Yeah, that one I did sponsor. So you see how this will look different? Completely different. So if there's somebody sponsored one, you can still leave flowers and notes, and you'll see there's up top, you could just click on the flowers and it should bring you straight down to them, and you can see somebody left an anonymous one and I left one.
Yeah.
So it just looks different, but some people think that when you actually sponsor, I think it was $5 or $10, and it's a one-time fee, and you can add more photos and have a little bit more control over it. What's cool is that these flowers show on the right-hand side. So if you have the WikiTree ID, it's more prominent and you can see it. So, something to think about. But a lot of people think that with that sponsoring thing that you're not allowed to touch it, it's locked down or something like that. But no, you can still leave flowers.
You can still leave flowers.
I had no idea you could sponsor some profile.
Yeah, I did not know that either.
And did you know that the linking challenge it counts for your 17 missions?
Oh,
if you put a link on on Find a Grave or Family Search, you can check your missions.
Yeah.
Well, that would be great. You could just take if you're in Appalachia. I don't know. You're gonna tell me about Canada and the whole region of South America. Do you have large families in the 1800s? Do you guys have families of 12 and 14? So see, you could easily get 17 probably with 2 families.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It's going down to Find a Grave.
Yes.
Yeah, my French Canadian families are on average at least a dozen.
There you go. I knew you were similar to Appalachians.
Yes, that's great. Yeah, that's great.
I still have to challenge you to find an Appalachian connection for me.
I will.
I know you like that kind of challenge.
Challenge is down. I accept. And
Maybe.
everyone that's watching from Appalachia better hurry and jump into it.
Maybe an Appalachian who was tired of the really cold winters and wanted to go south.
That's true.
To get more cold winters?
Oh, well, I don't know. Or go back, have a summer home in Chile.
Yeah. Right. I'm sure Vicki and I could get into lots of genealogy trouble.
That's neat. So should I do the profiles?
Yeah, connection checkers.
Connection checkers, yeah.
Okay, so who are you closest to? Mine's a given. So
the Appalachian, of course.
Yeah. So who are you guys closest to?
Well, mine is Tim Horton.
Excellent. I think that's
no
what
idea.
I'm closest to as well. Let me just jump down here. Oh, how come it's not showing this? That's weird. Here I am. Oh, Bob Dylan is closer to me.
Oh, that's
No. Tim Horton is close. No, that's Bob Dylan.
25 degrees away from him. I'm sure you're closer.
Oh, I thought
so.
I was
25 is the closest that you connect this week, Vicki?
Yes,
And then
that's the closest.
Greg, you?
Well, it looks like Bob Dylan is my closest at 23. How come I'm not? Oh no, wait a second. Yeah, no, 19. There I am. I was looking the wrong. I'm looking. Yeah, okay, 19. 19 for Tim Horton. That makes sense. He's the Canadian.
I know. That's what I was going to say. I can't believe that Tim.
No,
Horton.
yeah. I was looking across at my name here, but I forgot I have to look up too to get the top because of the way half matrix works.
And I'm 13 from June, but
13.
through my husband's very, very Southwest Virginia family, which makes sense.
Okay, so you're not an actual cousin, or where you're not a close.
No.
Whereas I think I am an actual cousin.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Now, wait, let me just make sure that I'm understanding this. Tim Horton of Tim Horton.
Tim Horton's the
So what's in your mug right now?
What's in my mug right now? Well, it is coffee. It's not from Tim Hortons. It's brewed here at home, which is that's a different brand. My wife is the one who drinks coffee every single morning. I only drink it on special days. Like today, after this is over, I have to go to play for a funeral at church.
I'm sorry.
The hymns might be a little faster. We'll see. So there's your Doctor Who connection for today. I'm drinking out of my TARDIS.
We had to talk about Doctor Who, of course. Hey, Greg. Anne Fergusi is asking, how did you do that?
How did I do what?
Oh, the degree table.
Oh, the table. Oh, okay. So that is actually, that's a feature of the, now I've lost it. It's a feature of the WikiTree Bree extension. WikiTree browser extension. Oh my goodness, I'm getting.
Oh, it's the coffee.
It's the coffee. It's the coffee.
Mr. Ian, I think, did that one.
Yes, Sir Ian did that. So usually this table is well, one of the options is to make it vertical, and I don't know why it's not going vertical for me. But this new button here is an option. So if I go into the extension and under profile, one of the options here is featured connections table. Oh, I've got this one turned off. Replace the featured sections table with a sorted in order of closeness. Okay, so if I turn that on, then this group here will become a vertical list. And then I also have this on, add a button to show the full table of connections, so you can see the connection of all the featured people to each other. So I already had that one turned on. I don't know why I turned this one off, because I love that feature. So let me just refresh the screen. And there it goes.
There it is.
You're the snake. And there, then I wouldn't take any brain power at all. See, my mouth is moving faster than my brain is because of the coffee. So yeah, but Tim is the top. But then you click the all degrees table and it reformats into this pretty little thing here, which is very cool.
It is.
To see how they're all connected to each other. Wow. So Anne Frank, am I reading right? Anne Frank is the farthest from Greta Garbo. That's the, I don't see any in the 40s. So that's.
See, but this is what's really cool about the feature connections as well, because people work on them with connection checkers. So these could change.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. What's amazing to me is look at the China, Zhu Yaoping, I think is this one here. These connections are closer than Anne Frank, who is a European, right? That's kind of wild.
It is.
Anyways, we digress. We haven't even started talking about the whole theme.
But aren't these cool things we're showing?
What's that? Yeah,
yes, we're learning.
We're learning new things and we're exploring. So yeah, so the theme for Connection Checkers this week is the Lunar New Year, because the Chinese New Year was sometime this past week. Oh, January 29th. Tells me right there. Just a few days ago. Marks the beginning of the Lunar New Year. And this is the year of the wood snake. Now, I didn't realize it was called a wood snake. I thought it was just the year of the snake. But is there a year of a different type of snake? Does anyone know?
Yes, different elements for each animal.
Oh.
I'm not sure of all of them. Maybe something is wind, water, fire, maybe. Not so sure.
Okay. Because I was born in 1964, which for most of the year is the year of the dragon. So I've always counted myself as part of the year of the dragon. But I realized that I'm actually, because I'm born in mid-January, I'm actually the year before. I'm actually tail end of the year of the rabbit. So I'm not a dragon. I'm dragon food.
Well, that's a big difference.
You're a rabbit.
I'm dragon food, not a dragon.
Equally cool, right?
I don't know. Right. Eventually, I'll be part of a dragon, in the digestive system.
But the dragon eats the rabbit.
That's great. So, anyways, it's kind of cool. So, I mean, this every 12 years, right? Because of the zodiac, right? It comes up. And we go back in time. So the way I've rearranged the profiles, so we're not doing them in the order that they're listed here in the Connection Checkers game. I'm going to do them sort of going reverse chronological in terms of the years. So the youngest of the profiles, the most recent. So if you went back 12 years from 2025, the next one would be those born in 2013 mostly. And that would be 12-year-olds. Now, is it 12 or 14 is the age when you can join WikiTree?
I thought it was 13.
13. Okay, so we won't have any WikiTreeers who were the most recent water or wood snakes. But we could go back another 12 years, and then we'd get some potential WikiTreeers who are in that. But we're going to go back to the 60s, 1965. Yes, Joanne Rowling. J.K. also known as J.K. Rowling was born in the year of the wood snake. And of course, she was born in Yate, Gloucester, England, to Peter James Rowling, who was a Rolls-Royce aircraft engineer. That's pretty cool. I didn't know. Well, I think at one point I knew, but I'd forgotten. So now I remembered. The Rolls-Royce, along with fancy cars, also did aircraft, which is kind of cool. And her mother was a science technician. And what's really cool is that her parents met on a train departing from King's Cross Station. And you know that the Harry Potter novels, trains and King's Cross are pretty key to the beginning of the story. So I thought that was kind of cool. Her mother had multiple sclerosis, which is very sad, and eventually passed away because of that. But when she was in school, she was head girl, a little bit of Hermione there, perhaps. Classical studies, classical mythology is what she studied. She worked as a researcher for Amnesty International. So remember, there was a part if you've read all the Harry Potter books, there's a part where she was fighting for the rights of the House of Elves. And I'm thinking there's a little bit of a tie-in there.
That's a great Easter egg. Yeah.
What's that?
That's a great Easter egg that you picked up on.
Yeah, I like it. Just seems to me, they always say, write what you know. Well, she's obviously incorporated, whether consciously or unconsciously, some of. I'm reading into that, So.
You're a fan?
What's that?
Of Harry Potter? Are you a fan?
Oh yeah. We read it. I mean, our kids started reading it when they were just in, early grade 2, 3 when they first started reading it, our oldest, and then every time a new one came out, we read them together as a family.
Oh.
Because our youngest
Oh.
wasn't old enough to read at that time, and so we read. And often they'd come out in the summer. So when we went on motorhome trips across the country, there'd be long periods of time, and whoever wasn't driving, well, which wasn't usually me, I usually got to read at nighttime when I finished driving. But we'd read chapters of time, and I remember.
Wow.
I remember we were driving to meet someone, and we just read the chapter where a major character that we all loved passed away, and it was very sad.
Oh.
Time to pull over.
Yeah, we had to. In fact, my wife and I had to take turns reading paragraphs because we just.
Oh.
Yeah.
That was a sad visit.
It was a very sad, yes. Anyways, so anyways, this is very cool. Now, it doesn't mention anything else after the Harry Potter series here, but she's gone on to write other books as well. And I don't know if you're a fan of her mystery series. She's got a pen name, Robert Galbraith, and she's written a whole bunch of mystery novels.
Was that after Potter?
Yes, that was after Potter. Yeah. And it's been turned into a BBC series, which has gone a number of seasons into it as well. Those are quite good, but they're a lot grittier than Harry Potter. But, I quite enjoy those too. Moving on, so that she was born in 65. So going back 12 years, we would get to 43, which is when, no, 53, I should say. How about 65 to 53. Our next profile is Isabelle Huppert. And she is from France, a French movie and stage actress, recipient of many awards, including 2 César awards, 16 nominations, Golden Globe, a BAFTA, which is a British Academy of Fine Arts, or Fine Arts Theater.
Kind of like our Oscars, right?
Yeah. And acting awards at international festivals, Cannes, Venice. And I'm pronouncing everything. Venice, Berlin. She was the daughter of Raymond Huppert, who was a Jewish sales manufacturer, and Annick Beau, who was a Catholic English teacher. So she taught English in France. And she's the youngest of 5 siblings. Her sister is actually a film director herself. She was also a descendant of a famous fashion designer, which is interesting. And if we look at her ancestors, you can see.
Well, that might explain why everybody's saying that she's their longest. She's my longest as well.
Yeah. So she's from France, and her father was Jewish, I believe, right? Osterach. Isn't that what I had read? There's Argentina.
Well,
Argentinian connection back to France. So
maybe that's why she's not my furthest. Actually, I'm 29. That's not too bad for me.
Okay. Interesting. So her grandmother, one of her grandmothers, was born in Buenos Aires. And then the rest is all France. Now, what's interesting about this, I think, okay, with all those French connections, my French Canadian might meet up, but her French, her ancestry doesn't go far enough back, because most of my French ancestors left France either in the 16 or 1700s. Very few of them, my French roots go really deep back, and this doesn't go deep enough. So we'd have to go back further. So that's interesting, I thought. Moving on to Bob Zimmerman, who's more commonly known as Bob Dylan. And he was born not in 53, but 12 years before 53 in 1941. Robert Allen, child of Abe Zimmerman and Beatty Stone, was born on the 24th of May, 1941 at St. Mary's Hospital in Duluth, Minnesota. He changed his name to Bob Dylan. And I love his quote here. You're born, the wrong names, the wrong parent. I mean, that happens. You call yourself what you want to call yourself. This is the land of the free. So his parents his paternal grandparents, Zygmunt and Anna Zimmerman, came to the United States from Odessa in the Russian Empire. Now it's part of Ukraine. And his maternal grandparents were also Jewish, Lithuanian Jews. And so his ancestry, Jewish ancestry is hard to get back too many generations, right? Because at one point they didn't use surnames, so that makes the research even more difficult. Plus, the endogamy makes the DNA confirmations difficult. So that's as far back as his goes right now. Interesting.
And now I've got earworms going in. I'm going through his catalog.
Oh, I know. He's got so many. He was just such an amazing musician. Interesting, he won the Nobel Prize in Literature, and he was the first musician to receive the honor primarily because of his songwriting. Interesting. And of course, he's won many, many awards, and they're all listed there. So that's great. Moving on, also born in 41, is the President of Ireland. So we're talking about the Republic of Ireland, the southern part of the island. Michael Daniel Higgins, or Michael Donald Higgins. I don't know if that's close. But that's my attempt. John can correct me if I'm anywhere close. Born the 18th of April, 1941 in Limerick, County Limerick. And it looks like he tried to get connected to as many counties as possible. So, he knew, I guess, at a young age, he wanted to become president of this whole of Ireland. Born in County Limerick, moved to County Clare to be raised by an aunt and uncle. Attended St. Flannan's College. Went to Galway. Maybe saw Galway Bay there. Was a lecturer for 30 years at Galway University. And then he's elected, started city council, and then went up to the national. He was involved with the National University. He received the Peace Prize for work in peace and justice in many parts of the world, and then was elected the ninth president of Ireland in 2011, and then re-elected again in 2018. So, and is currently still.
Oh, John's 24. Okay, so Irish John, you might be Welsh John today then. That seems
Oh,
fun.
no. Did I say Galway? I meant Galway.
Another Dylan song that's Galway.
Galway. Okay. So I wonder if he was elected in 2011, and then in 2018. That's 7 years. Is that because of lucky number 7? That's how often comes up. I don't know. Also now from 41, from 1941 minus 12 gives you 1929. So we have a bunch that were born actually in 1929. That's the sort of the most common age for our profiles of the week. Audrey Kathleen Hepburn, formerly Ruston. So she was born in Ruston. Now I don't know the Hepburn Ruston. Let's just look at the ancestors here. So it was Ruston. I don't know where the Hepburn came from there. So it's not explained in the profile, or if it is, I missed it. But anyway, she's born in Brussels, Belgium. Her mother was a Dutch baroness, which is cool, and her father worked in business. She dated William Holden, who was an actor who was in the film Sabrina with her. Married Mel Ferrer, who was another actor. Married Andrea Doty, and then later Robert Walters, her lifetime partner. So there's a picture of her here. Famous actress, done lots of stuff. Roman Holiday, she won an Oscar for. Golden Globes for the same as well. Breakfast of Tiffany's is another one that she's done. It's not listed in the profile here, but it's very famous. And I love the photos they've included. Nice ones there. There's William Holden, and I think Mel is there. Mel Ferrer. Look at baby Audrey.
Already thinking Breakfast at Tiffany's with that hat.
With that hat, isn't that wild?
Already elegant.
Yeah. And then we have our. So this is from our Japanese profile, Nancy Miyoshi, or Umeki. Miyoshi Umeki was a Japanese-American actress and singer, and was the first Asian actor to win an Academy Award. She won Best Supporting Actress in 1957 for her role in the film Sayonara. Born in Otaru, in Hokkaido, Japan, daughter of Japanese parents, youngest of 9 children. She began her career as a nightclub singer and used the name Nancy Umeki, for then recorded for RCA Victor, and then left for the States in 1955 and began recording for Mercury Records, leading role actually in a musical, The Flower Drum Song. I'm not familiar with that musical. Are either of you familiar with that musical?
Yeah. I thought it was
No,
a
not
movie,
me.
though. I thought I saw it as a movie, though. But
Oh,
interesting.
okay. Well, I mean, Rodgers and Hammerstein did. I mean, there were a lot at that point. That was a popular thing, right? Turning the musicals into movies, right? The Sound of Music.
Yeah,
And whatnot. So interesting. I have to look into that one.
that is.
And then there's a couple pictures of her there too. Very nice. She sadly passed away of complications from cancer. Anne Marie Frank, Annalise was her official name, and that's written on some of her documents. Born in 1929 in June, and passed away sadly sometime before the end of 1945. Age 15, Belsen-Bergen. So many of you, I think, will be familiar with the story of Anne Frank, young girl. Her family moved to the Netherlands to escape persecution of the Jews. She was Jewish, her whole family was. But then when Germany took over the Netherlands, the persecution of the Jews followed there. And so the family hid in a room behind the store. And they survived there for a couple years until the Gestapo found them and arrested them. And unfortunately, along with her sister, were taken to a camp, and she died there. Her father survived, and he went back and found her diary, which was then later published posthumously. If you've ever been to Amsterdam, visiting Anne Frank House, I would say is a must.
It is.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's just a gripping story, and just so, I mean, it really brings to life the whole tragedy. Yeah, I'm getting misty just thinking about it.
And just a few days ago was the Holocaust Remembrance Day on the 27th, and this is kind of a story that aligns directly with that. So if anybody would like to help Elaine's Holocaust and Auschwitz initiative, that would be fantastic, because WikiTree is trying to get all the people that had gone through Auschwitz, whether they survived or not, on WikiTree, and become the one place to search for every Auschwitz person that was there. And it ends at the end of this year. It's a big initiative, doing a lot of great work.
Wow. Do we have an idea how many, like what numbers we're talking?
Yeah.
We talking thousands?
Oh, yeah. Way up. Way up. I think Elaine had put each database kind of has different records. Sometimes they are duplicate because testimonies come in from families. So sometimes a cousin would say something, and so they're trying to clear it out. But I think it's well over 60,000, but I think it's higher than that.
Wow.
And that's just for Auschwitz. We won't even talk about all the other places that.
Yeah.
And I know some of you that are in the chat have been working on that as well. I know Elaine appreciates that.
Yeah. This is a wonderful profile.
It is
really well done. But one of the things I sort of got chills looking at in the sources. I mean, this is an actual source. The Judentransport aus den Niederlanden, the Jewish transport from the Netherlands. Like, this is the record that shows there she is, Annalise Frank.
This hits you,
Doesn't it? It just, my goodness. Like, wow.
It's heartbreaking.
It is.
So here's the update. So Elaine had put from the U.S. Holocaust Memorial that's in D.C. and another really, really something you should see if you're anywhere around Washington, D.C. 89,478.
Wow.
I think, is it that, or is that how many is in WikiTree? I don't know which Elaine was here, but either way, that's still a lot.
Wow.
80, almost 90,000.
Wow. Okay, well, let's moving on in a totally different direction. We have our Appalachian
Yeah, we do.
profile. Valerie June Carter, also known as June Carter Cash. Born in 1929, Mesa Springs, Scott, Virginia. Passed away in 2003 at the age of 73 in Nashville, Tennessee. She's associated with Appalachia. Of course, born in 29. American singer, dancer, songwriter, actress, comedian. So she was the clown of the family.
She really was. She was not the singer of the family.
She was not the singer of the family.
She was not, but it worked. And a little piece of trivia that she was struggling with whether or not to continue a relationship with Mr. Cash, with Johnny Cash. She co-wrote Ring of Fire. Everybody thinks Johnny Cash did that. No, she did.
Excellent. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. So the profile is great. It talks about her early days with the Carter family trio, and then Mother Maybelle. I mean, I remember Mother Maybelle showed up in TV specials and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Mother Maybelle and the Carter sisters. What I didn't realize is that they had cousins. Well, I guess her uncle and a cousin, the Virginia Boys, that also perform with them. And also Chet Atkins backed them up.
He did.
And because of him, delayed their getting to Nashville because they were afraid that Chet was too good and he would replace all of the other Nashville guitar pickers because he was so much better than them. But eventually they got to Nashville and then met Hank Williams, Elvis Presley. Now this line intrigued me, to whom they were distantly related. So I had to check that out.
Oh,
yeah.
They are Elvis Presley and June Carter Cash are 12th cousins twice removed. So that is pretty distant, but it's still.
There's connections to Loretta Lynn as well, a family.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're in that, there's just this one part of the United States, one part of Appalachia that the endogamy is,
Well, look at this. They have not only, so there's this relationship, their closest one, 12th cousins twice removed, through Thomas Kemp. But there's 270 common ancestors. I'm thinking I don't usually see this many unless I'm on my French Canadian side.
Welcome to Appalachia.
Yeah, there we go.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. So imagine a French Canadian marrying an Appalachian. What those connections are going to be like.
And I would say yes, Amanda is absolutely correct. You are officially an Appalachian now. You're into Appalachian royalty with the Carter
Appalachian royalty. Excellent. And here we are. Our Canadian content for today: Miles Gilbert Horton, more commonly known as Tim Horton. Born in Cochrane, Ontario, which is way far north. So minus 19 degrees Celsius, which is what my temperature is here. It would be piece of cake for where he was. Now, he was born in 1930. So remember at the beginning, I was talking about how I thought I was in the year of the dragon, but then realized I wasn't. Well, Tim would have had the same realization because of the way the Chinese New Year works and our calendar, the Gregorian calendar. He would be on the tail end of the year of the wood snake before it turned into whatever the next animal is next year. It's going to be. So, and he died tragically at 44. He died in a car accident while he was still a hockey player. Yeah, so he's most famous now as the namesake of a very popular, Canadian coffee shop, Tim Hortons. So there's Tim Hortons all over the place. But he was actually a hockey player, and he was the co-founder of it. So of this restaurant chain, he put up some of the money for it. And it used his name because as a hockey player, his name was famous, at least in parts of Canada. And originally it was just Toronto. But then he did get into a car crash. But I love this. Someone's included an early Tim Hortons poster.
I love that.
Featuring hot dogs and Coke, a junior hot dog for 25 cents, a senior
Wow.
hot dog for 35 cents. And what's really funny to me is, let me just zoom in here. Zoom in. Come on. I want to zoom in on this part here. Tim Hortons drive-ins now at 7 locations.
Oh.
Okay, so the ones without any names under those are all Toronto, Ontario locations. Lawrence Avenue, Yonge Street, Kingston Road, those are Toronto streets. And then Port Credit is a little town outside of Toronto. Hamilton is a city that's about a half-hour drive away. 7 locations, now it's 7 locations. I live out in the country, but in 15 minutes away is a town called Aurelia, which only has 33,000 people. And it has currently 8.
Oh no!
8
Wow.
Tim Hortons. So they're everywhere. You can't go. Now we also have the headquarters of the Ontario Provincial Police. So having the provincial police headquarters might have something to do with having so many Tim Hortons coffee shops. But anyways, I just
has been to one of those. And Fiordalisi was in the one on Yonge Street.
Yonge Street, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That would make sense, yeah.
So my problem is I don't know if the coffee is really good or I've just convinced myself it's fantastic. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I don't drink a lot of coffee, but my wife does, and she does. It's actually a little bit bitter. She doesn't like it as much as some of the others. So, but it's I don't know. People like the thought of, or I don't know.
It's Tim's.
It's probably more popular than it is actually good, but if that makes any sense. Thelonious Fear Monk. I love that. I knew his name was Thelonious Monk. I didn't realize his middle name was Sphere, which is very cool. As a mathematician, I really love that. Very cool. But anyways, going from 1929 back 12 years, we're back in 1917. So he was born near the end of the First World War in Edgecombe, North Carolina. Thelonious Monk, innovative American jazz pianist and composer, remembered for his brilliant and unpredictable contributions to the jazz standard repertoire. Second most recorded jazz composer in history. Now that's very cool. Wow. Yeah. And his father was also Thelonious. Thelonious isn't a name you hear very often these days.
No.
Not a name that's a lot of people can pronounce easily. But there's Thelonious right there. He was only 4 years old when they left North Carolina and moved to Manhattan. And then he formed his first band in 1933. So he would have been, how old would he have been then? 16.
Wow.
He was young and precocious. Registered for the draft. He was the house pianist at the Mittens Playhouse. So that's kind of cool. First commercial recording in 1944. I got married in 1947. Some neat pictures here of him. And
those photos are amazing,
aren't they? Isn't that
this one? You said, that's amazing.
Yeah, very cool. Got the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award in 1993 and a Pulitzer Prize. Interesting. For a body of distinguished and innovative musical composition that has had a significant and enduring impact on the evolution of jazz.
That's very cool. Very
cool. Neat. And in the North Carolina Music Hall of Fame, as well he should be. Greta Garbo. Born Greta Lovisa Gustafsson in Katarina, Stockholm, Sverige, Sweden, in 1905. So going from 17 down to 5, 1905, managed by the Sweden Project. And her father was born in Helsinki, Finland. Interesting. Am I reading that right? No, that's not her father. Moshe Moritz Stiller. Why have I got him here? Oh, he was the director who directed her, I guess. And it's got a list of her 10 top films. Lovely pictures of her all on the side there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Why did I think she was German?
Well, Greta is a German name,
Mhm.
so maybe that was it. But no, she's definitely Swedish.
That second photo kind of, sort of, also looks like Marlena Dietrich in a little bit of way.
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
maybe
I can see that. Yeah. Yeah. She moved to Hollywood, and it's interesting here. It says she had a glamorous life. She summered in Switzerland, hung around with the Rothschilds, Aristotle Onassis, collected
Nice.
paintings by Renoir, went to theaters. She did not enjoy paparazzi, and so when she went to a salon and then was encountered with paparazzi, she didn't go back. Sadly, she never married and had no children. Her whole estate was left to her niece, the sole heiress. But there's a stamp made in her honor. Nice. Wonderful actress. Then we have Xu Yukong or Xu Yaoping. Now Xu or Chu is the family name. So, and in the way that Chinese, they always say the family name first and then the first name. So that's why I introduced them as Chu Yaoping. Is a Chinese economist and banker and a linguist, a sinologist, which means a studier of the history, or a Chinese expert. Sinology is the study of China. Publisher and a super centenarian, which is very cool because he was born and he died on the same day, the 13th of January, at the age of 111.
Wow.
The 111, and yes, in the first month, the 1st month of the year.
Wow. I bet you chose that profile.
I did not, but if I would if I could. It was very cool. What did he eat? Yes, really. That would be interesting to know. So what's interesting, what his claim to fame is that he was the father of pinyin, which I had to look up because I did not know what that meant. But pinyin is the romanization, or the way of translating, or basically the way of writing Chinese characters into a sort of a standard Roman language, like using our alphabet, or the alphabet that we use, right? So from the characters, so that's his name written in Chinese characters. This is his name written in pinyin with our letters or instead of stuff, right? With whatever accents are needed to distinguish things from.
That takes a patience level that
I don't have. So that was a project that when he worked for the government, started in 1958, and then it was accepted by different organizational standards, and eventually at the United Nations level in '86, because they knew the government knew that they needed to communicate with the outside world, at least in limited ways, and the only way to do that really efficiently was to use the same alphabet, or have ways of translating. So there's his Wikipedia article. Is a lot more.
It's very interesting because I connect to him through his sister-in-law, because his sister-in-law married a German.
Oh, I bet you most people, because remember when we looked at the chart?
Yeah.
When we looked at this chart here, his was not the furthest away from people, and I was surprised by that. But the German connection there makes it.
Me too.
Yeah.
That makes more sense now.
I was surprised.
Okay, well,
maybe patience is the key to live long.
Yeah. I'm in trouble.
Oops.
Okay. Well, those are all of the profiles of the week. We do not have Betsy yet, do we?
No.
Okay. Well, I can talk about what's happening in WikiTree.
Well, we've got to celebrate your ancestor. The
photo.
Shoot.
Sorry.
The photo.
Go right ahead.
So we can bring those up. Let me refresh in case somebody snuck one in real quick. Oh, someone did. Oh, that's great. Okay. So celebrate your ancestor connection. And the first one, any country, any location, I love looking at pioneer photos. These are the people who were so brave, had no clue what they were getting into, and made it work. And this one's from Alexis Nelson, and shows a 1923 photo of her paternal grandfather. Let me see if I can bring this up a little bit as well. Moved to Oklahoma in 1909 when it was a big oil boom. And this is him in an automobile accessory store. So just at the time when automobiles were going to the boomtown. And everything. So this, it's just really, really cool to see how they stock things. Back then everything was just so nice and neat. Everything was so really, really cool to see him. You could just feel the pride as well off of his you just feel the pride off of his photo. So thanks, Alexa. And then Herbert Cole Nugget Combs was born in 1906 in help me out, Australian. So Kalamunda, Western Australia. And 1931, he was awarded a Hackett Scholarship that allowed him to study in London at the School of Economics. So that was kind of cool, and received his PhD. Let me see if we've got a photo. Not yet, but you can see that this profile, very detailed, lots of information. So check it out when you guys have more time. This is one of those ones where I say get a cup of tea or a cup of coffee as well. And this would definitely be my ancestors that were crucial in the fight for liberty. So we have Ephraim, Mary, and Samuel Hartwell. And now I'm curious because right around the corner from me is Hartwell Lake. I wonder if this is the same, but it looks like a group from England maybe. So doesn't say, but in this year is the 250th anniversary of the shot heard around the world, which most of us kind of recognize for independence and fight for liberty as well. So I don't have the link, so that's a common thing that I forget to do as well. So Violet Rose Ray is from Anne, and thank you, Anne, for showing us her lovely photo. This was Anne's grandmother, was born in 19. And she says, I know it's January, but please look at this. It's my early Valentine love of this favorite relative. And again, I gotta bring in, if you have some favorite relatives or ancestors, definitely do the profile makeover, because as Vicki said, it's love this month.
Perfect choice. For a profile makeover.
It is, isn't it? She went on 4 sea voyages, Europe and Brazil, and she really improved the profile as well, doing the profile makeover.
Oh.
And then Hillary, my grandmother, was born in February, shortly before Queen Victoria died. Oh, isn't that lovely? We've got the photo here as well. So she lost her father when she's 5 years old, and her mother the following year. That's so tough. This meant she spent her childhood in a children's home miles away from where she was born. So that's there. And then a strong woman who lost her eldest son and then her husband, and I only knew her as a widow. But that's, I think, even though sometimes stories are sad, it's important to document them. Not everybody's perfect. Not everybody lives the perfect life. And I always think of Chris Ferriol when I think of things like this too, because he had an immigrant that came from Italy to the United States, didn't like it, went back. So it's important to put, okay, what happened? What was wrong? So we know who the person is, because their strength usually shows through their conflicts. And then we have, let me scroll down. Jeffrey, you're in the audience as well. You're in the chat. To celebrate, I love this. I would like to celebrate my 5th great-grandfather, William Beamish. And according to Wikipedia, Beamish and Crawford in the early 1800s was the largest brewery in Ireland.
Really?
Is it still around?
Bigger than Guinness?
Yeah. Jeff, you're going to have to tell us some details here.
Mm-hmm.
So this is really, really cool. You should put some of these pictures and advertising on his profile. That would be really cool too. But operating until 2009 and had a number of owners. O'Keefe, Scottish and Newcastle, and most recently Heineken, and then they closed. And Beamish Stout is still brewed in the city through the Heineken brand. Very, very cool. And the Counting House. This is very cool. And as Greg showed, I love the ads. I love the ads.
Me too.
The old ones.
And so I don't know, just a little personal note here. January was a dry month for Sandy. So I think I'm going to do what Jeff suggests. And so to my great grandfather, I raise a pint. Well, maybe not this early in the morning, but I still will raise a pint. So I will join you, Jeff, later on. Okay. And then Dee, who's also in the chat, is celebrating your paternal Uncle Leon Spencer. Thank you guys for including the links. I really appreciate it. And there we go. There's a lovely picture of Leon. Isn't that great?
Oh.
Dee, you're going to have to help us out too and tell us a little bit more. So due to my father's choice of racial fluidity in the Jim Crow era, which is extremely challenging and difficult, I never had the opportunity to meet my uncle until 2021.
Wow.
How cool was that? Okay, so Dee, this at the right before the comments on a profile and at the end of the sources on a profile, there's a little section called memories. I would really love for you to, if you're comfortable, everybody's comfortable, write a little bit of a memory of that first meeting. That would be so cool to see everybody. And I feel blessed to have finally met him and my Spencer cousins after all this time.
Wow.
And it's just so cool. And he was at home in hospice and spent many days with him. And there's a snippet from his obituary. We hear stories where people just missed meeting somebody that they knew in the family, or they just found out were part of the family. And this is so special. This kind of gives me goosebumps and chills. This is great. So thank you, Dee. And Stuart, 2 celebrations for my beloved mother. Was born February 2nd. And my wonderful son, Blake. Nice. Okay, this is Vicki. This is definitely the theme of love, isn't it? This month. So there we go. My lovely mother. Thanks, Stuart.
Wow,
that's really, really great. So that's pretty cool as well. And those are the photos so far.
Excellent.
We have our special guest.
Hey, just in time.
No, actually, I've been behind in the wings, and I was enjoying hearing about all this.
You all this time?
Yes. I don't know. Maybe.
How was the festival?
The festival
How did it
was good. My 2 students that was there, they've only started playing in August. This was their first solo experience. They're 6th graders, and they both got golds. So,
excellent.
Wow. Very gold. So perfect.
Our suggestion, maybe. they were both like super prepared. Like I could have ding dong on at their house at 2 a.m. and they could have gotten up and played their solos from memory.
Wow. So Betsy, at the beginning, we mentioned that you were there with your young students.
Yeah.
And I said that Betsy was Betsy's flute newts were making toots.
Perfect.
We're gonna make you say that 10 times fast.
Yeah, it's hard to say fast. Flute newts doing toots. So I'm glad. And I guess they were buttes if they got if they got gold.
Okay.
I'll stop now.
Great. Congrats.
I think there's a limerick in there somewhere.
That's right.
So, well, yes. Question of the week.
Yes.
Yes.
Do you want to put me up on the screen? Let's see if I can do this right.
There we go.
Yes?
There you are.
Okay, there I am in no tunnel of infinity. Now I've learned my message or my lesson. Okay, still only 7 answers because I don't want to miss anyone who sneaks in.
Yeah, that's right.
At the last minute. So, question of the week: do you have Asian ancestors or any Asian ethnicity turn up on a DNA test? And it was sort of like a half and half split between people saying, yes, I have something on the paper trail, or, well, I have this intriguing DNA result.
Mhm.
What about you guys? Anything on either front?
Not for me.
Not for
I
me.
have a little something in my DNA test, maybe like 1%, and I have no idea where it came from. But I once showed it to Max
Yes.
Golden, and she said that it's maybe just noise.
Mhm.
Well,
At that
yeah.
low
I don't
level.
know. You never know.
And is it through Ancestry?
No, my heritage.
Oh, my heritage. Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Oh,
I guess,
1.8.
oh, okay. Well,
Mhm.
as the database grows, maybe you can figure out if it's
Mhm.
noise or real.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So we have 7 answers. Matthew Ferguson let us know that his mother was born in Manila and her in the Philippines. I don't know a great deal about the Philippines geography, but he mentioned she was from the eastern Bohol province, and her father was from Pampanga, I think. And he was very excited because Family Search recently added records that included much of the Philippines, and he was able to trace his Filipino roots back to his 3rd great grandparents. And he
Right.
did the profiles there. I wonder if he has. I didn't check. Let's see if he has photos for his. No photos.
Mhm.
But he does have. He was able to get a source. I mean, that is. I speak from personal experience. That is the challenge.
Mhm.
Accessing those sources. So there's his
Oh.
3rd great grandmother. Yeah. So, thanks, Matthew. And here's someone, Oliver Stegan, who often responds to the questions. He says, not in historically documented time. However, as my Y DNA haplotype M269 derives from R1b, which appears approximately 18,500 years ago in Asia, I guess I must have some ancestors in Asia. So,
I suppose yes, because it goes from Africa up through and then back to Europe.
right. And don't forget that you might have Asian connections. They might
Yes.
not be in your DNA, but Christina Adams writes that my great-grandchildren have Asian roots, so these might be showing up on her connections.
Mhm.
Judith Fry said, one brother and I both show trace amounts of DNA from Central and South Asia, 1% or less. Is that what it said on yours, Vicki? Central and South Asia?
No, it says Western.
Oh,
Mm.
huh. And then another case of connection. She said, my oldest nephew's other grandmother was Japanese. She was born in Hawaii to immigrant parents. Mary Goulash says, yes, I found relatives with a DNA match that live in Japan and other areas. I was told by a lady that I have a gene that is usually not found out of the Philippines. That's great. If you can follow up on that, which said is rare. I do not know about that part, but interesting to find out, though. Well, maybe you can track that down. Alice, is Alice in the chat?
Mm-hmm. She
Yes.
is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
I don't find any Asian ancestry with me via DNA. There is, however, a likelihood that there's some Asian ancestry via marriage. There are many world travelers in my family history and family lines. Some were missionaries that met Asian women and did marry. My third significant other was married to an Asian woman and had 4 children with Asian DNA ancestry. I work occasionally on his tree line. So it's Alice, you got me thinking when you made the comment about missionaries. I at the end I'll show that I have something similar in my tree. That's really interesting. And then our last response was from Anna Feek. I apologize greatly if I'm mispronouncing your name. And she has Japanese ancestry. She's also an adoptee. I couldn't quite tell if the Japanese was maybe in both her biological and her adopted side, but she is, I noticed at the end, she says, I have extensive research skills in both Hawaiian and Japanese research and was able to obtain the Koseki, a Japanese registry in Japan for both languages. That's
That's
a
cool.
great thing. Yes. I am guessing in Chinese genealogy, we have what's called the jiapu, which would be a very, very thorough family tree. But she's making the Koseki sound like it is more of a, I don't know. I don't know if it's an official record or more of a family document. She said, I honor my ancestors for their stamina, the intergenerational trauma, endurance, and the journeys they had to take, including the harsh racial prejudice. I also have DNA results in 23andMe and Ancestry. So above, she writes about some of the discrimination and unfairness that were that her great grandparents and her grandparents endured. It's an important part of history to understand. Thank you, Anna, very much. So I just wanted to share. This is my missionary connection. George Leslie McKay,
Oh,
who was the son of Scottish immigrants to Canada. So he himself spent his early life in Canada in Embro, and then went to to train to be a clergy, and was just felt called to do missionary work. And so he ended up in the north end of Taiwan, and he pursued his missionary work through dentistry. So he would go around and offer, can I help you with your teeth? And by the way, while I have your mouth open, let me tell you.
Yeah, that's right. When you can't argue, you can't talk back.
So there's actually a picture. I don't think it's on the profile. I adopted his profile. And
That's great.
there's a picture out there somewhere of him pulling somebody's teeth, and he taught himself Taiwanese, and he married a Taiwanese woman. And I was going over to her profile this morning, and I noticed she was orphaned, so I just adopted her.
Oh,
Yeah. And her profile needs a bit of love. But my connection is, you'll see they have these 3 children, 2 daughters. I think there were 2 sons. I'm going to have to track that down. But their daughter Bella married a Co. And so this was some level of cousin of my great grandfather, I think. And so there was, but the relationship between the families went down quite a number of generations. Like my grandfather was second cousins with the McKays, and the McKays would he was still like, they would call on each other. They would, they were close. So yeah.
Wow. You must be missing some connections then, because it says you're only 26. You're 26 degrees.
Right, right. I need to, yes, absolutely. I have not put in my, let's
All
see,
those.
all those. I'm a little bit afraid, you know,
Yes.
'cause I know how much it's going to take to, where are my ancestors? Where are they?
Where are you?
Where are my ancestors?
Oh, should there.
Oh, there they
There,
are.
there.
Okay.
I'm clicking on your button.
Right. So you can see
Ah,
it's through my paternal grandfather, and the cousin that links me to Bella McKay is through his father. And what I know about him is that he was a flower farmer, which I love.
Aw,
mm,
a
Imagine
theme of love again.
in a field of beautiful flowers.
nice.
And it is actually very helpful that they were Christians, because the church records are super strong.
Oh, good.
So I bet I could add him. I have his name, I have his characters. So it's just finding the time. That is that
Very
is the
cool.
issue. So yeah. So that is
Excellent.
Great.
question of the week.
So
Oh,
we have breaking news from
Yes.
Aaron.
yeah. I challenged Sandy to find my Appalachian connection,
And
because she always says everyone is connected to Appalachia. And look at that. Now I have a connection, and it's so much
Anna.
closer than I thought.
7 degrees.
Wow.
So
It's
William
amazing.
was
So how's the
born in
connection?
Chile.
What's the 7 part? Like, how does it fit? How does it work?
Well, my second great grandmother had a sister who married an English, I don't know if Navy man or sailor, who was in Chile, and he was from Liverpool, and they got married, and they went to the States,
Very cool.
and they had this daughter, Jan
Mhm.
Jones.
And this is a
So
very
we're really close.
yeah, this is a western part of Pennsylvania. A lot of coal mining, a lot of hills, mountains.
Huh.
A little bit
Okay.
rugged. There you go.
Yeah.
So if
So
we
she
build
was
out that,
born.
yeah.
She,
Go ahead.
she was born in Appalachia land, but she would be the daughter of a British guy and a Chilean woman.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Neat.
There it is.
So pretty cool. There you go. Thanks, Aaron.
Wow.
So,
Thank you.
and if
You're
anybody's
amazing.
curious, this whole I'm sorry, I love your fan chart. This is how I know where I need to do my work. So that right side
Wow.
is going to be a little work there.
If we fill that out, you're going to be a lot closer to,
Yeah, Texas. So anybody Texas, it looks like he married a woman from Texas, and somehow they managed their way up into Appalachia.
Oh, Jan is a he. I thought it was a she. Mm-hmm.
Neat.
Okay.
Very cool. Very
Thank
cool.
you. So biscuits for me, right?
Yeah,
There we go.
Wow. Great.
There we go. There's a picture of the Koseki that we were talking about.
Oh, thank you, Greg.
Japanese family registry. So it kind of reminds me of a family group sheet, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
That's what it looks like. And Japanese law requires that all Japanese households have one. Isn't that interesting?
Oh,
yes, that
according
is.
according to Wikipedia, if So that's interesting.
Can we make that policy for
You
everybody?
can really.
Starting before the laws, 1880, 1900.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
Wow. Anyways, lots of things are happening around WikiTree coming up. This week, for example, we have Ask Alesh on Wednesday morning. And you can see here, there's the questions of the week. Lots of things coming up. Challenges that are ongoing, of course, all the regular ones. U.S. Civil War, POWs who died in Salisbury Prison. That's very specific there. That's
Wow.
the 17 for 17 mission is going on. And Vicki, did you know that the mystery box has been added as one of the options?
Yay!
Yes, I told you
Yeah.
that. Yes, we are.
So there we go. And of course, the next month will be Roots Tech and stuff. And the social media page has been updated, I believe. So here we are.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you. Question of the week,
Thank
which we
you.
don't know yet, or at least I don't know. Maybe Betsy knows.
Question of the week. I don't know yet.
The
Sorry.
name is Fritz, though. The one name study is Fritz.
Yeah,
We'll have
that's
connection checkers on Tuesday.
Lisa helped me this week with this one.
What's that?
She really helped me this week with this one.
Oh, good. Wambreckis, Nord, France. Interesting. There we have Ask Alesh again. Norway is the project highlighted on Thursday. We'll have Hall of Fame on Friday. And meet a member. Is that you doing bingo Hall of Fame or no?
No. Hall of Fame is Azure and I, we switch every week. She does musicians and I do actors. So this week is my week. And we do the Hollywood Walk of Fame or the Rock and Roll Museum. And so if anybody, I do have one already done, but I am definitely open to suggestions for anybody that wants to DM me for Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Okay. And then we're back here again next week. So there we go. And yeah, theme for the photos is homes.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Oh, can I show my one home photo?
Go right ahead. Yes.
Oh, of
I
course.
did
That's inspired.
my one home photo. Let's see. So Betsy warned me that this was home. So if by the way, a lot of us are doing blogs, and Chris Ferriolo posts up on GGG the blogs every week, the blogosphere, and home was appropriate this week. Most of you know last year was a horrible year for me with family and loss and pets. But this year's starting off quite better. So last week we welcomed into our home Gracie on the left and Buzz after Buzz Lightyear on the right, and they are like sleeping right now, like right here thinking this, or else you'd hear their squeaky toys. 12 weeks old, and I found out that I am very old to have puppies.
Yeah, patience. We were talking about patience.
And love. So there you go.
And love. Oh yeah.
So that's my contribution to Betsy. Is this month is our home, right? The 12 photos.
Homes. Yep. So look in your albums and see what you find, and be creative too.
Yeah. Did you notice our colors? We're perfectly matching.
Oh, yeah. We're like a rainbow.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
And Greg is doing double duty with
I'm doing double. Well, it's cool. It's minus 19 here. Yeah, which is -2 Fahrenheit for you guys. So it's pretty cool. Yeah. So we were speaking of homes, and our hearts do go out to all those who lost homes in the California wildfire. So Anne said she lost her the original home in California that she grew up in. So that's sad.
Yeah, very
so. Our hearts for all of those. But I think we've come to the end of another. I'm not going to say another hour because before we go into a second hour. A metric hour.
Oops. Yep, I've got the warning.
Almost a new record.
Yeah. Anyways, thanks for everyone. Sandy, thanks for joining us. And
thank you for inviting me.
No problem. Betsy, I'm glad you made it, and congratulations to your 2 flautists.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And of course, Vicki as well for keeping us all organized and whatnot. So great to have you here. Thanks to everyone who's joined us, and we will see you again next week. So have a great week, everyone.
Okay.
Bye. Happy February.